Hello,
Hello.
Statto. You are statistical L0. You are looking very patriotic tonight.
The L stands for Lee.
I should have Chuck Norris myself up, put a bit of camouflage on or something. I say, not my monkeys. Hello there. Hey, welcome. I hope you're. Should probably be drinking Coors beer or something tonight because it's Chuck Norris we're going to be doing, and that. I think he's a Coors kind of guy, isn't he?
You see?
I would think so.
Wow.
He does a lot of drinking at bars on his own in his movies. I've noticed that from
It's not root
watching a
beer.
few.
Sarsaparilla or something.
Sarsaparilla, it might be.
He's a wholesome dude.
He's a wholesome dude. Not so much in the start in these movies as we talk about them. There's a lot of stuff in here that's not at all wholesome.
No, it's true. Of course, I think none of that was within his control.
No,
of course, I think I've heard stories of him having to bargain like either different scenes or different movies off of nude scenes. Like if he was doing a sex scene, it'd be like, I'll do it, but for another movie with this message or something like that. Like he didn't want to do them, so he would barter different things.
It's weird because
interesting.
It is odd. We'll talk about some of that because his early movies are exploitation movies, so you know, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, we are doing Chuck Norris. But before that, if you're new to the channel, when you're on YouTube, could you maybe subscribe because we're nearly at 250 subs here, and I know as soon as we get there, yeah, I'm pretty sure
249.
Is that what we're at?
We're at 249.
Are we? So yeah, we
really are.
You know what's going to happen? YouTube will take half a dozen away as soon as we get to 250. But yeah, if you haven't subbed, please give us a wee sub, and remember to like this video. Everybody on Facebook, hello there, and I know there's at least 2 of you out there on Twitch. Yeah, you can't lie, but but we love you.
You're just connoisseurs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we get started, announcement time.
What you got?
Yeah, it's in dollars for some reason. I don't know.
I know this. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but guess
dollars.
What?
America.
Yeah, we maybe that's probably why it's American, of course. American. We made the stretch goal, the final stretch goal. So everybody got the update and statistical zeros. It was a dark print.
You can't see it, but I'm doing like a touchdown pose right now.
Excellent. Yeah, you're all getting it. You're all getting it in the campaign.
Wow.
So you've got the Elsa Dark print, which is going to be gorgeous. You get the Tatty Bogelman print now. Yeah, that's it, guys.
Which is more gorgeous, sir?
All gorgeouser as they come. Yeah, so yeah, they're all there. You're all getting them. And also, if anybody backed the campaign and they missed out in the Elsa Dark making of, because some people just didn't realize it was there as an add-on, you can actually claim it on its own now as a separate item. So that's there for you guys if anybody is interested in that. I've been working a wee bit on that today.
I love a good background making of book.
Yeah, well, this is a proper one. This is kind of like it's like reading articles in a magazine. It's like if you got a special on something.
You're reading it for the articles. I gotcha. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Hey. Right. But yeah, so cool. So I'm well chuffed that we are over the $4,000 in British money that we need to get all the stuff done for everybody. So you're getting a big swag bag. And you could give the Tatty Bogelman a wee look as well and sign up for that. There's people signing up for that because it is going to go live on October the 29th.
I'm already ready for this.
Yep. So get ready for that. And Elsa Dark is hopefully just about done by then. I had a little bit of a disaster with some of the files on my iPad, but I don't want to talk about it. I managed to salvage some work. It's getting there. These things happen. Technology. So cool, but that's good. That's good news on Elsa Dark.
So
I'm just going to stop sharing this now if I can remember how to do it.
That is exciting.
It is pretty good. So, not my monkey's on his phone tonight, so it's going to be bad thumb typing. Excellent. It's not the whiskey at all. It's the phone. Thanks for joining us.
Technology.
Indeed. Right, let's do this then. I'm going to have to share my chuck.
Hmm.
There we go.
Share my chuck.
Share my chuck. We have been threatening to look at canon movies, and so we're starting with one of their biggest stars, Chuck Norris himself. I think they had two, as far as I know, two big stars, maybe more. But they were.
See, they had Chuck Dale, Sylvester Stallone's early stuff. He had a few. He didn't have a ton. Yeah. I don't think he was the highest paid, but he had Chuck Norris. Then they had. I know they had more franchises than this.
They had Charles Bronson and Chuck Norris.
Did he do what was that, like the next 3 Death Wishes or something like that?
Yeah, he did. I think for Death Wish.
Michael Dudikoff
2 onwards. Michael Dudikoff, I suppose. Yep, he was the one too.
He had a couple of different franchises, I think.
Yep.
American Ninja.
He was for the younger viewers.
Right.
They had the middle-aged man market well sewn up with Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson, I think.
This had to be been a lot of guys, like a lot of dads' heroes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of your dads were watching these kind of thing. If you were younger, and then if you were older, of course, you were watching them, going, shoot them.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Am I sounding okay here? Because it just told me my mic had disconnected, but it hasn't, has it? No. All right. So if you can still hear me, then it must be fine. That was weird. Mm-hmm. My Mac. I want to send it back.
Overall, I think that's a great name for the company, because they really just did fire anything they could at the canvas just to see if it actually would work. There was horror movies, there was like adventure, there was all ages kids movies, there was dirty movies, there was action movies. I think this is probably the action equivalent to New Moon's horror.
Yeah,
it really had to look at it.
But they pulled everybody in. They got big directors in as well. They got art house directors. They got everybody.
Well, that's because those producers, they liked throwing money around. Maybe too much. So
these guys. This is my favorite picture of all time. Menahem Golan and Yoram Globus.
That was just them going to a barbecue.
Pretty much, yeah. It was like, let's just shoot something on the way.
Well, they had King Solomon's Mine, or the Quartermain, fake Indiana Jones too.
Yeah, that must have been why they were dressed like this. It must have been for King Solomon's Mines, the Alan Quartermain. It's very possible. Or Chuck Norris's Firewalker.
Chances are, if you have a nostalgic, crappy movie, it's the good chance that it's a canon movie, with all of the stuff that they try to jump on, like Rumpelstiltskin and Haunted Honeymoon with Gene Wilder, and there's so many movies.
Did they do that?
They did that. That's under the Orion Pictures thing, but it was HBO canon as far as I think distribution.
Yeah.
Or presented by kind of thing. So
yeah,
if they didn't make it, they presented a ton of stuff.
But they owe their early kind of success to Chuck Norris, and the first film that we're going to be talking about tonight, really.
Delta Force, Invasion USA, those movies. This one was his first one with them.
It was Missing in Action. But there's an amazing. It's
not missing some action, because there's plenty in there.
No, there's an amazing poster
That's the
on
second
the
one.
Yeah, which is the Italian one. I mean, what a poster that is.
It looks more like Clint Eastwood.
It does. It looks like one of those
Lou Ferrigno's body.
Yeah, you know the Italian rip-offs of Escape from New York. It looks like one of those.
Is that a machine gun that exclusively fires bazooka rounds?
Yes, I like just get one rocket stuck on it, and once he's fired that's
got this giant clip of rockets.
Chuck's beard negotiated a separate.
Him and Riggs's mullet probably had the same agent.
The thing is, Chuck's beard always reminded me of Action Man. And then you got the Action Man who had the beard, and it was like they advertised it as realistic hair. That would have been G.I. Joe in the States. So he had gripping hands and realistic hair, and his beard was very much like Chuck Norris's beard, which just seemed to be an extension of his chest hair.
I think that beard inspired a legion of guys to mimic it. Like, Chances are, if you liked action movies and you had a beard, you were all in on Chuck Norris movies.
Yeah. I don't have the ability to grow a Chuck Norris beard. My face just isn't hard enough for it.
James Bond had people dressing nicer, trying to be a little more suave, and this definitely had them growing beards and like wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah, I think
spending time at the gun range.
I could do the James Bond stubble, but that's about
it. All right.
Anywho, this was like the first big hit he had in the cinema for Canon Films distributing it.
Naturally, critics didn't like it.
But the critics hated all of them. And to be honest, having watched them all in succession over the last couple of weeks,
and there are points to be made. Oh.
The critics weren't completely wrong. But this was Missing in Action was his Rambo, but it was made before Rambo.
2 months or a few months, 6 months, 7 months for the second one.
Yeah, so it was released before Rambo, and this is back in the day before the internet. So it was just one of these coincidences.
I'd read that they'd read the treatment for the second movie, and they decided to like work because Cameron shopped that around. They decided to work on their own and develop that. And when Norris was excited, they were like, "Oh, hey, perfect, we got this script."
Yeah, but the thing was, the way Norris tells it, he was wanting to do a movie based on the idea of the prisoners.
Yeah, I think it was like a pairing.
Yeah, because his brother had died in Vietnam, and he wanted to do a movie that was a tribute, to the soldiers. But again, it's all kind of moot because the first movie to do the Let's Go Back and Rescue People that are still in Vietnam was Uncommon Valor, which was, strangely enough, directed by Ted Kotcheff, who made First Blood, and it had Gene Hackman, who let's face it, on the acting front, he's got everybody beaten.
Oh yeah,
I'm afraid nobody can really stick up against that. But it also had Tim Thomerson and Fred Ward.
Yep, Fred Ward.
Tim Thomerson from Dullman himself. So so there was this kind of like wee subgenre that was kind of grew organically back in the day.
This is all before or after, like, say, Hamburger Hill? I'm trying to think of when that came out. I know that wasn't like a rescue the soldiers. That was like almost like a Vietnam version of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, because I can't. Yeah, because
they were both Vietnam movies. Full Metal Jacket was, but
these would have been after, wouldn't they? I'm just checking. Hamburger Hill. I'm looking it up. Hamburger Hill was directed by.
That's 1987.
Yep. Oh, these are all before then. Yeah, these are before.
And Full Metal Jacket was 80, same year.
Yep. Yep.
Well, they weren't. Everybody was afraid to pull the trigger at this point, because they weren't popular movies. The Vietnam movies, it's like making a movie set on Mars. They almost never make money if you really think about it. Like, producers don't like Mars in the title. That's why John Carter didn't have that, or John, the John Carter of Mars, or was it just it was John Carter. They don't want to put the Mars in there because
Carter.
It doesn't make any money from what I understand. Even though people like those movies, they don't make money in the theater.
Yeah. No, my monkey's back on his laptop. Yes.
Welcome back.
Go for it, man. So this is the iconic moment in this movie is when he comes out the bottom with his big machine gun and guns everybody down in slow motion. This film was actually made after the sequel. So they made the film Missing in Action 2 first, but they liked this one more, so they released this one as the first movie.
Such a canon move.
Yeah, so Missing in Action came out, and then they released Missing in Action 2, which was a prequel, but it actually just made it before. And if you think that's a kind of a confusing way to do it, when you watch both movies, I'm not even touching the third one yet, when you watch both movies, they don't connect at all. It's like they're just, if you're looking for some kind of continuity between these movies, there's none. It's the adventures of James Braddock across 3 movies, and it appears to be 3 different timelines in the multiverse because they do not connect.
It does make a lot of sense though, because when you watch this one, he's like edgier, he's angrier, and like he's seen some stuff. And then you go back and you watch that first one. It's probably in retrospect when you watch them a good decision, because this one had a lot of action in it, a lot more action than I think both the other two.
I'd say this was the better movie of them all. This is the one that actually feels like a proper movie.
Which clearly, they put the budget into this one because this was supposed to be the explosive sequel. But
yeah, I think so.
But then you go back and see what he went through, and it makes you understand why he's so irritable in the second movie, pointing guns at people, saying $10,000.
It does. This was directed by Joseph Zito.
Hey, Pete.
I've got some of his classic movies up here on the screen. Good evening, Pete. Good to see you've got your technical problems kind of sorted out, I hope. Oh yeah, you're on the phone. That's good. That's better than me. I think I watched about 2 hours of a stream before I figured out how to actually go into the chat on my phone. So you're well ahead of me on that one. So yeah, Joseph Zito made these kind of like really quite nasty and grimy and gritty horror movies when he first started out. His first kind of bigger budget, low budget movie was The Prowler, or Rosemary's Killer as it was called in the UK. And then he got like a Friday the 13th. He got The Final Chapter, which of course wasn't the final chapter. And that was him kind of like breaking through into getting closer to making like a proper big release. And Missing in Action was his proper big release. And I think he has a kind of sensibility that works well with the low budget and with the kind of sleazy aspects
of
the movie. He would go on to make Invasion USA with Chuck, Dolph Lundgren's Red Scorpion, and
2 out of 3 of those movies are awesome.
Yeah, but one of them obviously has got to be Delta Force One: The Lost Patrol, which he made with Gary Daniels, British martial arts sensation Gary Daniels, Mike Norris, son of Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
this made me laugh, and Bentley Mitchum, grandson of Robert Mitchum.
I think Red Scorpion might be one of Dolph's biggest movies. Of course, it's hard to find right now in terms of buying it.
Yeah, I've got a Blu-ray. You can get,
or at least a cheap copy. I think you can get a decently priced. I mean, a little higher priced or whatever. But I hadn't seen an incredible amount of like cheaper. You'd think that'd be like a $5 movie.
You would think so.
You'd think so, but kind of Invasion USA is a really easy one to find. You can find that in collections by itself, Blu-ray, DVD, all of it cheap.
Yeah, I don't have Delta Force One, but I kind of want to. I didn't even know it existed until this afternoon when I was putting this together.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you didn't know Delta Force One existed?
Not the Lost Patrol, no.
Okay. I was thinking like the first Delta Force. I'm like, you knew that one existed. Come on.
Yeah, but this is cunningly called Delta Force One.
My goodness.
Yeah, I knew there was Delta Force 3, which had the sons of lots of action stars, but I didn't realize it was this one as well.
It's like a bad Expendables.
There's a whole Delta Force thing going on that we never knew about.
Oh my goodness!
I'm now interested in it. But yeah, Invasion USA, practically the same writer, the same team. Jay Chataway doing the music, same guy doing the music, has made the Missing in Action movies.
That's one of the first Chuck Norris movies I saw. That and Delta Force 2.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Directed by his brother Aaron. So you get Chuck Norris. He's going back to Vietnam. He's going to rescue the soldiers that are there. His backstory is that he's spent time in prison in Vietnam as well, and so he has his demons.
But he's still very polite and eloquent.
He is very much. It starts with a nightmare. He has a nightmare at the start. It looks like a big action sequence. Has at least 2 laugh out loud funny moments. These movies have really funny sequences in them. None of the funny sequences are supposed to be funny, and that's what makes them even funnier.
These are the kind of movies where they do that stealth walking, and then they just do like a roll out of nowhere, just to like be covert kind of thing. Like, yeah.
I'd forgotten how much climbing about outside of a building he did in this movie as well. He does a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the director of this, Joseph Zito, was penciled in to make the first Spider-Man movie because Canon had the rights. So I was beginning to think maybe they were just trying stuff out for Spider-Man, because he just seemed to be climbing over.
An American hero, he could do
windows. That. Yeah, pretty much. But it was written by a guy called James Brunner, who wrote the third one as well, and he wrote Invasion USA. I think he now writes Hallmark Channel movies and stuff like that. But this did have Emmett Walsh, who you can see in the background here, and proper good character actor. And when you've got somebody like that in the movie, it's somebody for Chuck to kind of like bounce off. I don't know if that makes Chuck's. What do you think about Chuck as an actor, Statto? Honestly,
I like him. He's one of that guys that shows up in everything from like Tales from the Crypt to Harry and the Hendersons. Oh, he's got a voice. Emmett. Yeah,
he's brilliant. But what do you think about Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris. He's you don't hire him for a lot of the acting. I hire him for it's just like when you want a George Clooney movie, you hire George Clooney. He's not really acting a whole lot. It's the name. He's a big name. He's a I don't know that I've seen Chuck Norris act. I'm trying to think of a movie where he didn't act like Chuck Norris. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
where he comes in and is very like, hey, you need to put that down right now and walk away, and I'll be nice to you. And then, oh wait, maybe you know what? Maybe I take that back. Maybe Firewalker.
Firewalker, yeah.
It's one of the few that he doesn't act like Chuck Norris. And maybe that's because even though it's not a great movie, I still like that movie a lot because it's Chuck Norris doing something else. He's kind of like underhanded and schemy in that movie.
Yeah. I think that's the only one. It's like even when he only ever shouts when somebody's about to be blown up, something like that. Everything's just this monotone.
Very calm.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it's funny. They play off of that, like that juxtaposition with that swagger, like. But it's very much a brand. And just like Sean Connery didn't do a whole lot of acting outside of being Sean Connery. He had guys doctor the script to make it sound more like him anyways.
Yeah.
It's very much a personality. Like we're casting a name, not so much acting. But that's a lot of action guys. So Stallone, for most of his movies, not like Oscar or something, but Stallone, you cast Stallone.
Yeah. I think I hear what you're saying here, but I think with Chuck, it's like when people say he's wooden, they're right. But I think that he took being wooden to a new level.
Chuck was the action star that came with a Saturday morning PSA. Like
pretty
remember,
much.
Kids, don't do drugs or I'll kick you.
After he just killed about 40 people.
Murder's bad.
Yeah. But Emmett Walsh is really quite good in this, as you mentioned, in everything. I want to
Once again, he's kind of one of those guys you cast him for him.
You do. And we will be talking about him at some point in the future because he was in an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
So good. I remember that. It was one of the first episodes.
Yep. So we will be talking about him at some point. And I know we've not seen People Circus that much in the chat lately, but I do know he's been checking out the videos and leaving the odd comment. So I'm sure he'll be glad to know that Emmett Walsh was also in Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
I barely recognize him there. Look at that.
Yeah, he looks like a inflated Phil Silvers there.
A little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, he was there. So missing in action. It's not a good movie. I've got to say that. It's
not a good movie. No,
it's not a good movie.
It's you know what I think it's one of those perfect movies for getting some buddies together and just having a laugh. It's a fun action movie. Like it didn't have a lot. I mean, I know some of the reviews called it pretty brainless, and there might be some merit to that. But that's a lot of action.
There's a scene with the gun salesman, the gun runners guys are kind of like haggling with him to try and get him to pay for the weapons, but they let him look at the gun with the ammunition in it, so he turns it towards them to get them to put their price down. And you're thinking,
well, that's like Terminator.
Yeah, but
hey man, you can't put that in there.
Yeah, but it's just it's like it's a daft movie.
Of course, it's a black market situation, so they probably priced it to work right off the lot.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's sleazy as well. It's incredibly sleazy. There's loads of nudity in this movie which you don't normally get in a Chuck. Norris movie.
Chuck didn't have the power of veto at this point, I don't think.
No, I'll bring back
get
this
that
poster
later.
just because I love it. Yeah, I was surprised again at that. I'd forgotten just how kind of sleazy it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Joseph Zito was a perfect choice for that kind of film.
Well, for sure, it was one of those like Power of the American Soldier type movies.
Yeah,
you get that. This was done at Rambo. Well, once Rambo hit, especially the second one, like it was all about one man versus the bad guy, lots of them kind of situation. And then Schwarzenegger got involved, and that became like the other side of the coin to slasher flicks.
Yeah,
it's almost like a positive slasher flick when you think about it, because the slasher is like, Stallone or Schwarzenegger in Commando or something like that. He's going through bad guys left and right.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I thought that when I was watching him as well. It was kind of like that. But that's a good point that Pete made. I never thought about that. He would have worked really well in westerns back in the day.
He would have. He probably would have been, I'm guessing, something like a Steve McQueen Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Type of role or something.
And then when he got older, he could have recreated his persona as a spaghetti western star.
He kind of went into that anyways with like Lone Wolf McQuade and Walker Texas Ranger, and he moved in that direction.
Yeah, I wouldn't accept Walker Texas Ranger.
Well, still, cowboy hat, like like the look was straight out of a western.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched that many Walkers. I think I watched the pilot movie, and then I watched the episode that crossed over with Sammo Hung's Martial Law.
Well, for goodness sake, you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
watching one, but it's Chuck turned to 11.
Yeah,
with multiple camera angles, of course.
Of course, yeah. Good on him for getting all that.
Heck of a popular show though when it was going.
It was huge, wasn't it? Right, Missing in Action 2.
Missing Harder.
Yeah, which was made first but released second.
Interesting poster.
Yeah, that one on the right where he looks kind of like I don't know, Chris Christopherson tribute act. I have no idea what that is. But yeah, they're so happy running away in that first one, isn't he?
Well, they're getting away.
Getting away.
They're about to be found in action.
So this is a flashback to when he was 7 years a prisoner, and they were trying to get him to confess to war crimes that he hadn't done. All he has to do is confess, and they'll let everybody go. Of course, they won't let everybody go. And it's completely different to the flashbacks in the first movie. So it's a different prison camp.
Use these flashbacks.
Yeah, a different prison camp, different people, almost like a different story.
What?
He also has a wife back home, and they keep using this over his head as if she's going to leave him, and we found out she's going to get married and all this kind of stuff, and so he's got a wife back home, but he didn't when we watched the first movie. So
he just decided to forget about her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Move on.
That was too much. Just move on. Do a lot of drinking at bars on his own.
Oh yeah, because he's a lonely guy, lonely hero.
Lance Hull, whose only other film of note as a director was Steel Dawn with Patrick Swayze.
First PG-13 movie.
Yeah, and of course.
Wait, no, that's not Steel Dawn. That's that one that just had a remake not too long ago with. What am I thinking? It's the one with the Wolverines. You know what I'm talking about.
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, easy mistake to make. You see Patrick Swayze and you see the word Dawn.
With the Dawn, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people rented this and were kind of disappointed, or maybe not. But yeah, Steel Dawn is a Patrick Swayze, Brian James, and Christopher Neame.
He had a Tales from the Crypt episode too. Brian James.
So he did. I don't know if Christopher Neame did, but I put him in there anyway because he was in Dracula AD 1972. And I just wanted to give it a mention. It's amazing that everything's connected to the apes and to Dracula AD 1972. But yes, so this was Lance Hull's kind of like big directorial hit. At least it became a big kind of like rental hit, on VHS. But as a producer, he made he produced Man on Fire, and he's been involved in producing lots of good movies. I had his name attached to lots of good movies.
Sure.
Missing in Action, the beginning is not one of them.
Wow.
But it's amazing. It is amazing.
You know, I'd say this one was a little more compelling than the first one. I thought
it's shorter as well. It's only about 90 minutes. Perfect time.
Yeah.
It's got Stephen Williams in it, who's great. He plays the soldier who's kind of like given up, and he's moved over to the other side, so he's collaborating with the baddies, it's an hour of torturing people.
It's a more interesting bad guy, I think, in this one than in either of the other two, really.
There he is there.
Yeah. That fight between, it's like a battle of the will between him and Norris, because, I mean, there's a small martial arts thing at the end, but for the most part, it was pretty absent from this movie. And I think they had to get it in there because it's like, well, people go to a Chuck Norris movie to see some leg throwing. Yeah. And we didn't have any here, so.
he's amazingly fit for 7 years of being a prisoner of war.
No, it's because he's doing squats.
He's pretty much doing squats. Good evening, King Penarts. Patrick persuaded me very early on not to watch his movies. Yeah.
Not even Black Dog?
Now, this is the iconic scene in this movie, I believe, where they put a rat in a bag and they put it onto Chuck Norris's head, and there's lots of squirming, and then they take it off, and of course, the image you see is Chuck Norris with a rat in his mouth.
You say it like it wouldn't happen.
It's so funny. It's like, this is this movie's big laugh out loud moment.
I like when you introduce the dudes to Mr. Flamethrower later on. Pops out of nowhere and
just nowhere with a flamethrower. Yeah, it's a very random movie, this.
Oh, it really is. All three of them really had those moments where it was just like, you feel like they left 1 or 2 seconds too long on the editing floor, where like he popped out, because it'd be like the guys are standing there and then all of a sudden they go, and he's just appeared like in the middle of a field almost with a gun, blows them all away and then just runs off.
Yeah, there seems to be like an endless supply of Vietnamese soldiers. But they're all the equivalent of stormtroopers in Star Wars. It's like
a little bit.
They just can't fire straight at all. You were telling me, what was it about the rat in this sequence?
From what I understand, I think it was Norris that said it. He said it was a real rat. They didn't have a, so they killed an actual rat and he just held it in his mouth. They put fake blood in the bag, and then he pulled it down and he's like, all I could taste was rat. I figured I was going to get the bubonic plague or something like that. Because it was like his younger stupid days. Like he's just like, let's just do this.
Yeah,
real rat.
This is pre-stretched jeans Norris.
Yeah, man. He looked like crap during this movie, though. I mean, they got that right with kind of the crappy makeup and stuff.
Yeah, they all did.
He looked properly miserable. But they had some brutal stuff in this one, like brutal stuff.
The shooting the gun to the guy's head, it's always empty, but he never knows.
Cooking the dude like
and then there's the Australian guy who shouting to him, "Don't worry, the gun's empty." And of course it isn't. So they blow his head off in slow motion. And you can't
forget Professor Toru Tanaka.
I know, not at all.
Guy's been in a lot of great movies.
Yep. He's been in a couple of Chuck Norris films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in An Eye for an Eye, wasn't he? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which was written by the James Brunner, who wrote Missing in Action, the first one.
Of course, WWF superstar at the time.
Yep.
Yeah. He unfortunately died in the year 2000 at the age of 70. But he had a decent amount of that guy roles in action movies.
He did. He had the look, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
We see here. Yeah, definitely.
He played a lot. He paid a lot of dues as like Butcher and Chinese Warrior and that guy in the background that's really strong, Sumo Guard. Yeah. Oh, that was a hilarious moment. This one's for me.
Yeah, this is like Chuck Norris beats the baddie, right? But isn't convinced that he's actually dead, so he hangs around. And then just blows him up.
That's just efficiency. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's just efficiency.
Well, it's the producers had to have had like a scale of like the bigger the explosions, the more money we're going to get.
Yeah.
Spend a little money, make a little money.
Yeah. So you think this is more entertaining than the first movie?
I wouldn't say entertaining, but I think it held my attention a little more. It was I could certainly see why they flipped them, because had this one come out first, I don't know that the second one would have had much attention on it.
Yeah.
But this one I think had a little bit more character stuff than the first one did, where it was just like point me at the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know.
I hear you. Yeah, I think the first one works better as a movie. It's better. It's better structured and put together.
This one's got a little more of a message that, I mean, like, it's one of those things where this might be a slightly better movie in terms of like the human condition and like Battle of Wills and stuff, but the other one's more fun to watch. So you're gonna watch the other one
but this
quite a bit more.
Yeah, but this is like nothing feels real to me in this.
No,
nothing at all.
Well, the suspense is kind of, I mean, since it's Chuck Norris, there's no real suspense in these movies.
No, because he's indestructible.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know.
He doesn't even take too much damage.
All those Avengers movies and Marvel movies leading up to Thanos, Chuck would have sorted that out in 90 minutes in one movie.
Problem.
No problem at all.
You said cute man jewelry.
Pretty much, yeah. But there was like these were big enough hits that a few years later, after all the Rambos and everything else had been out and kind of swamped the market, they made a third one. This was like the swan song pretty much for Canon, because they were in dire straits here and they were hoping this was going to be a big hit for them. But
last movie Canon did was a Chuck Norris picture.
Yeah, but
Hellbound, I think it was called.
Yeah, I know it wasn't great. But Missing in Action 3.
Is that Burt Reynolds? No, it's Chuck Norris.
Yeah. This is like I couldn't find any really bad posters for this because all the official ones really bad. This is. I originally watched this on VHS as a rental back in the day, and I thought to myself, "This is the lesser of them," because for some reason, I don't know why, I held the other two.
It's those painted covers. Those painted.
Yeah,
no.
Having just watched this week, I think this is my favorite out of the three. I think
really?
Yeah, it's like it's just like a warped, crazy, mental TV movie.
Oh, for sure, especially the dialogue.
It's got probably more laugh out loud moments than the other two movies combined. It's got better action overall, and it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's probably the most mean-spirited as well, which makes it even better because it's all about thinking about the children. And in this case, he goes back to Vietnam to rescue his Vietnamese wife and 12-year-old son that he didn't know he had, because he thought his wife was killed when they were all leaving Saigon at the end of the war.
Yep.
So from the very beginning, Chuck Norris is so incredible that he managed to be in a prisoner of war camp and in Saigon at the same time.
Well, that's when he got out, you know. I mean, once you get out, you gotta go and live your life.
He didn't, because every movie contradicts the other movie. So
obviously that's a canon staple.
Yeah, so it's almost like, nobody remembers what happened in the last movies. We're just making this up as we go along. So once you go with that, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
It's got bigger action sequences. It's got more of Chuck being Chuck and doing lots of like rolling around and kicking people in the groin.
Oh, there's more action in this one for sure.
Oh, definitely.
The other two combined.
It's called Braddock Missing in Action 3, stealing a bit of the Rambo kind of
I'll
idea
say
there.
the credit sequence for the second one, it looked like the intro to a TV, like the A-Team.
Yeah, because their names all come up.
And it shows them and it's like, boom, missing in action. And then it's like, Colonel whatever, boom, missing in action, and stuff. It looked just like an A-Team opening.
Yeah, it did. It did. There's a lot of TV movie vibes for all of these. Hey, Damon, thanks for joining us.
Hey.
We've got... He gets tortured again in this one. That's his wife up there in the top left. He believes that she's dead. He sees a charred remain of a body wearing her jewelry, and so they believe it's her. That's why he goes away for 12 years, believing that she's dead. Because don't forget, he's also got a wife back in America, according to the second movie too. Yeah, gets around.
Oh, for sure.
But the torture in this is brilliant because they string him up and they attach the rope that he's strung up to a shotgun, which is pointed at his 12-year-old son who's strapped to a chair. And if he essentially comes down a couple of inches, moves off of his toes, he'll kill his own son. But Chuck Norris, being Chuck Norris, he manages to stand there and it doesn't do it. So in order to get him to do it, they put electrodes around his neck and start electrocuting him. That doesn't work either. So eventually they've got to pull on him to pull him down.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the gun's empty and they all laugh because it's like, ha, ha, ha.
These movies commit that sin of, like, when you have a semi-automatic pistol that is empty and they pull it, it just clicks without the hammer locking back or the thing locking back, because they were just straight prop guns that they were using.
Yeah.
Probably on multiple movies. Yeah.
It's a cracking scene. It's funny. But it's quite well done for that kind of over the top, kitschy, campy kind of way that they do. You know
what I noticed about Chuck Norris? It's kind of funny because he's always the brooding, quiet hero. But whenever he talks, he speaks in full sentences. So it's not, there's a scene where, the kids ask him, he says, "Are you okay?" And the kid's like, "Yeah, are you okay?" "Yes, I'm okay, thank you," or something like that. Yeah. He never just says, "Yep."
It's like there's a scene towards the end. He's in a plane. He's got all these kids for the missionary, and he's got the priest in the back, and his son comes in, and he just pulls the dead guy off the seat that's next to him. He just goes, "Have a seat." It's like just matter of fact, just pulls the dead body off. He does these things. It's funny when he does them.
It's always very polite and warm to the right people, and the bad guys, they get the other side of Braddock. Pretty
much. The CIA are in this one as well. We know they're bad guys. When they tell him that there's nobody over there being rescued, he says, "Well, now I know you're lying." So off he goes. So yeah.
Hey there, Hyper Kaiju.
Hey. Hi there.
I kind of had to laugh at the second one when toward the end, when he's got the bad guy dead to rights, and it's all like, "You want to see who's equal between the two of us?" And instead of shooting him for like months and months of torture, he's like, "Yeah, let's fight."
Yeah.
I would have shot him as soon as he threw his gun away, no problem.
Yeah. This is different. He doesn't get to do a big martial arts fight with the bad guy at the end, but
no. But he did plenty of that through the movie.
He does it throughout the movie, lots of stuff, and it feels kind of better because him and his son, steadying his arm, they managed to shoot down the helicopter with the bad guy in
it. That's a heck of a shot.
It pretty much is. It's his son that aims the gun and then he pulls the trigger. You see him here, the kind of state he's in at the end of the movie.
It's like the bullet doesn't have any effect on the wind or anything like that.
No, but they're on the border, and the American soldiers come over and they put him in a kind of stretcher and they start carrying him over. It's almost like he's some kind of Christ-like figure, some kind of savior, and all the children that he's rescued are behind him.
St. Norris.
And then they start playing this truly awful song, which is brilliant. It's probably as bad as any of the songs at the end of a Rambo movie. But,
well, they were clearly aping off of that formula, going with what worked.
Yeah, but you knew it was coming because they play it at the opening of the movie as well. So it's not like Rambo, but they just spring it on you at the end. You kind of know it's coming here.
Well, Top Gun, or not Top Gun, but was it Lethal Weapon? Like had all saxophone for this.
Yeah,
hard
well, there he
action
is there
movie.
with the electrodes, and the guy's so happy that he's electrocuting him.
Oh, that dude was like cartoony in his giddiness throughout
Yeah,
this movie for being evil.
yeah, you've got. I mean, he shoots Chuck's wife. After all these years, goes back and rescues her, and he just shoots her in front of her, in front of the kid. It's a nasty kind of scene.
Oh yeah,
But the movie really kicks in after then, just becomes like an over the top torture action movie. It has again, it's that kind of sleazy quality that these missing in action movies have, which most Chuck Norris movies don't have. There's a scene where one of the soldiers is going to rape this kid, right? And you're like, oh, this is about uncomfortable. Well, where are they going with this? But Chuck's going to rescue.
Yep.
Just take the time before he gets there. But when he does get there, he's got that gun that he's got, which is obviously a bespoke, made for the movie type gun. Let's see where is it again. Yeah, it's you see it on the poster.
Yeah.
Right? And he comes in and he kicks the guy about, and gets the guy off her. This lassie's not traumatized enough. Chuck then pushes the gun towards his guy, and a big kind of blade comes out the top and goes through his body.
Right.
So he stabs him with this blade that comes out of the gun right in front of this lassie, and then he shoots him a couple of times with the blade stuck in him.
Yeah.
And then he fires off a rocket which goes into the guy's body. It sends him flying out the door into the grounds outside, and then when he lands, he explodes.
It's an action movie, okay? The physics are different. You got to get it done right.
But again, it's one of those scenes where it's like there's that delayed action, and then you just laugh out loud.
They fired a rocket into his apartment. It knocked him against the wall.
Yeah,
you got to do a little extra.
Yeah, but it's that case. Like the guy had to do something or he's trying to do something really heinous and horrible. So that we are happy to see Chuck stab him, shoot him, and blow him up.
When bad guys were bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant.
It was funny. Like this movie, you can find it on its own. There are a couple of collections, right, that have all three of them in there. But for the most part, I've noticed if you get like a Chuck Norris collection, you're going to get the two Delta Force movies. You're going to get this one. I mean, the first and the second of these, and then like something thrown in like maybe Lone Wolf McQuade or maybe something like that. But these and the two Delta Force movies are quite a bit packaged together.
Yeah, these are
not so much this one. This one's usually on its own. It's weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't say if you're going to watch any of them, I would say Missing in Action 2, maybe line it up with a Joe D'Amato movie or something like that, a kind of sleazy horror movie, make a good double bill. But I'd say if you were just going to watch one just to get a feel for this kind of stuff, I think the third one's the one to go for.
Well, yeah, it's got the most action, like more than the other two combined.
Yeah, definitely.
Although the second half of the first one has quite a bit.
I had a good time with it. He even has, it's directed by his brother Aaron Norris, and he even has some kind of moments where they're trying to make it look as if he's affected by the violence that's happening around him, as if they're trying to say something, but they don't spend too long trying to do that. We're talking seconds before they get back to just death and destruction.
It's been a while since I've seen them, but I think I like the Delta Force movies a bit more because they're not trying to be as messagey. It's just, here's some drug dealers. They gotta die,
Yeah, I know. I kind of know what you mean, but I was surprised how much I enjoyed them. They are kind of dull, though. You've got to accept that. They're kind of dull. They are kind of dull.
I'd probably take the other ones are Lone Wolf McQuade or something over these. Invasion USA is going to be toward my top for Norris movies, but
Invasion USA is much better. I mean, I'd watched Avenging Force recently, the Michael Dudikoff film, and that was much better as well. I mean, Chuck was supposed to be the American Ninja, and the original American Ninja script ended up being Invasion USA. So I think Chuck was like, I'm not playing a ninja. I'm not dressed as a ninja.
Right.
He would have been a ridiculous ninja.
Full of movies where ninjas dress black in the middle of the daytime in like a desert.
Yeah. But it's funny because they went for Franco Nero canon as their first ninja and Enter the Ninja. And he's kind of similar to Chuck in that film. He's got the mustache and everything. Yeah. So it was weird that I think they were thinking, along those lines of the kind of macho. If we can't get Chuck Norris, we'll get the original Django, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. I knew I had an image in here, but he's got that gun, which you
looks
can
like one of those paper towel rolls.
Yeah, I know. It actually looks like it's going to fall apart when he's using it.
Yeah. Well, that's the budget for some of these movies. I mean,
But it's
it's
good
big
stuff.
for canon, but not so much for an actual movie.
When he actually goes into Vietnam, he jumps out of a plane with a parachute, but prior to that, he kicks out his boat and it lands on a parachute, and then he jumps out after it, and then he climbs into his boat. He's got this wee kind of like boat, which they don't really use. They should get a big kind of Bondian action sequence with it, but they don't really do that. But I watched that and I thought the only thing that would have made that just a wee bit better would have been if he'd parachuted into the boat.
Yeah.
That would have been great. But it shows you just how ridiculous the movie is before he gets into Vietnam. That's how he gets there. He kicks his boat out of the plane and then he jumps out of the plane.
Well, yeah.
And everybody knows he's doing it because they see him straight away.
I mean, if you know an easier way, I'd love to hear it.
I don't know. A bus, maybe. Could go in disguise.
He's holding it in his legs and he just lets it go and drops the bus like a bomb.
Oh, let's see. So, Damon, you've already seen Chuck Norris with a snake joking.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Although I can see, I mean, his movies, Chuck's, I think he's sort of like, in these days at least, kind of a legend. You know what I mean? Like, his jokes are more popular than any of his movies. I haven't seen a proper re-release of a Chuck Norris movie I don't even know if I ever have. Some of them, I'm not even 100% sure they got onto DVD. Like you know, Stallone, even like his ones like Cobra or whatever, they're getting constant re-releases.
You can get most of Chuck's movies for German Amazon,
sure,
on Blu-ray, which is weird, and good kind of recollections as well. But yeah, I think what Monkey's saying there, I think what I was trying to get at earlier, he lacks that kind of personality. He is kind of wooden, but that becomes him, you know.
I think behind the scenes, though, he had a lot of, once he got to be Chuck Norris, he had a lot of demands on the movie that went way against what the traditional action movie was, which was guns and girls. He wanted, you know, maybe some guns, a little fighting, and a message.
The message
for the children
was what he wanted, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, he would often, I think, fight nude scenes and things like that, which at the time in the 80s, part of that excess, most movies had, if not like a sex scene, just had some girls standing in the background, you know, with no shirt on or something.
Yeah. Which the first Missing in Action has for about half a dozen scenes.
Yep.
It's just gratuitous nudity in one
scene.
It's
just like Dirty Harry when he's chasing a guy off rooftops and they crash into a porn set and there's just a bunch of naked people standing around. There's no need for it. It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
But
I would argue that there is a need for it, but especially in a movie called Dirty Harry.
Well, I mean, like, it didn't do anything for or against the story. They could have crashed into somebody cooking dinner, like,
no,
in their kitchen.
It's the look he gives them when he crashes in. It's funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hyper Kaiju is right, and that's because they would often get people that would be putting money into the movie, and they'd be like, "Are we going to get, you know, some sex in this movie and some nudity?" They'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure," and then they'd be quick, write a scene, you know, in a strip joint or something.
I could see the focus groups now. Okay, who liked when the woman had her top up? You? Okay, you? Yeah. Okay, they really liked that. I'm going to put a 5 out of 5 down.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much what it was. But it was really just big money men with cigars, you know.
Yeah, doing coke and telling people what they want in their movies.
With their big gold rings, saying, "Hey, you got to have this in it." And they're like, "Yeah, okay."
The kids like that nudity stuff.
Yep, that's what they want. But yeah, we're joking, but we know that's exactly how it works.
That's about right. Yep.
Yeah, you can see that with if you look at the old Hammer movies and movies made in the 60s.
Hammer had to make a hard left towards that kind of thing.
Yeah, but even before then, they would have like some movies you'd have like a bit of nudity in them for like foreign markets.
And it was just sometimes it came across as awkward, like in what was it, Taste the Blood of Dracula? The guy's just walking through like a bordello or something, and he just walks in on a couple people, and they just turn, and lady's got no top on, and then that's it, and it's done.
Yep.
It's like checking a box.
Yep, it's pretty much checking a box. But that's it. That's enough talk of boobs.
Yeah, Chuck. Look the way Chuck's looking at you.
I know he's not happy.
Let's move
He's
on
not
to
happy
something
because
else.
he wants to be. It's weird though because this was his franchise because he only did one other sequel and that was Delta Force 2.
Yep.
So this is his franchise, which is it's odd because it's not.
That's true. He hasn't done many sequels at all, like in his career.
No, I mean Lone Wolf
except for the Walker stuff.
Should have been that was crying out for a sequel, but I suppose Walker was like his TV
that was his.
Lone Wolf McQuade. Yeah.
Then you just went and did the show.
Yeah, and Code of Silence, which was a good one, was really a Dirty Harry script originally.
One of the funniest flipping scenes when those dudes tried to rob a cop bar. I love that scene so much.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Did you? Charles Bronson had similar demands. Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. He didn't earlier on in his career. I think that's one of these things. Maybe they look back at their older films and kind of go, we don't.
Well, once you get a name, you kind of get to decide certain things in your movie, or you can say I'm walking, and they believe you. Especially Bronson, for goodness sake, that dude was.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. It was usually the Japanese market that they put extra gore and extra nudity and stuff in. Yeah,
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because you watch some of those movies that they made for Japan that were made like in the 60s and that, and you're like, wow, they got away with a lot more than,
Well, I mean, when cannons left to their own devices, you pretty much get Life Force. Throw everything in there.
That's amazing,
nudity,
though.
Aliens, zombies, vampires, everything.
That's an amazing movie, though. We should probably just do a whole show on Life
canon.
Force. It is. It's got to be. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Texas Chainsaw 2, like let's have a chainsaw fight.
But Bronson was an excellent movie. Demon's taking us off at a tangent now. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything we want to cover with these? Because we are going to do more canon shows, so we're going to be doing more Chuck. But
I think
these are just their own unique kind of wee niche with these three movies. It's an interesting wee.
Really, one of the earliest Rambo pretenders, because they rushed this out so they beat the copyright because that Rambo sequel was going to be huge.
Yeah,
and they knew if they did this after, they'd have gotten sued.
Yeah, I don't know though, because I'm still not convinced that
I think it's different enough, but it's so dang similar. You can tell it's cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if it was entirely that. Yeah.
Well, I was watching this movie going, oof, that's Rambo.
Yeah.
That's maybe not so much this one, the third one.
Oh, the third one, definitely. The third one.
No, the first one, yeah.
Yeah, the first, yeah, well, yeah.
If you look at kind of like between the two of them is one story.
Yeah.
The flashbacks and the, going to rescue the POWs and stuff like that. That was very much Rambo 2.
I think maybe Cannon had seen it, but I'm going to have to believe Chuck and that he had this idea to make this movie.
Well, like I said, they were going to do this anyways. From what I understand, they had a script they were working on. He wanted to do this. He came to them and they said, perfect, we got something in development already. And they just married the two.
Yeah. But did that not turn out to be the beginning? Missing in Action 2, the beginning?
Yeah. Well, they shot them both back to back as basically one story, almost like a Back to the Future 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But, obviously.
Still couldn't get them to actually.
This first one's slow.
Sense. There they are.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
They're going hunting for a budget. Well, they did that. I heard they did the same thing that Hammer used to do, where they just make this awesome poster and say, don't you want to see this movie? And they'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sign on. And then it was nothing like the poster.
Yeah. No, they definitely did that. You can find the posters when you're online. How about the Tobe Hooper trilogy? That's a good call. Yeah, Tobe Hooper's Canon trilogy. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Do
it's the only place they'd let him do whatever he wanted.
Hey, I know. That's why we get brilliant movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh boy, when Dennis Hopper busted in with 2 chainsaws and like, yeah.
Oh, again, that's another laugh out loud moment.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That was it. That was our first Canon special. I don't think there's anything else we can say about these movies.
Well, not in a family-friendly show.
No. Maybe in a Team Dark stream.
No, I still have a good time with some of these cheesy action movies like this. I'm not gonna knock on them. I'm not gonna tell you don't go watch them. Please go watch them and get a laugh.
I love this stuff. I love all this stuff. It's, I'm well aware how bad they are.
It's in a purgatory between like a bad movie and a so bad it's good. Somewhere in between is a Canon flick.
Yeah.
A true grab bag.
But they're produced and made so quickly.
Yeah.
And you go in knowing that and you enjoy them for what they are.
They're expensive grindhouse movies.
They are. Well, the second one doesn't look at it.
No, but I mean, like, they're shot lightning fast, fairly cheap for what they are. They spent probably most of the budget on catering and C4.
Pretty much. Is that is Eddie Large on the left? That's a comedy duo that we had back in the day in the UK, Little and Large. Right. Anyway, that's it then. That's Missing in Action. So I don't know. We haven't decided on a Canon special number 2, but we could do the Toby Hooper films if you want to have a look at them. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen his Invaders from Mars.
What's that? Sorry.
Invaders. I thought, is this a you to the show? Have I lost Statto instead of Statto losing me?
Oh no, I'm here. I was just staring at those pictures for a second.
They're hypnotic.
Got lost in how amazing they are.
They're hypnotic. I think the first Missing in Action poster is brilliant with him that gun. That's all you need to know to make you go and see that movie. The second one could be a musical in the jungle. I don't know. They'll run about happily, but
Missing in Action, the musical.
Yeah, and the third one is just like Disney kids just walking about. That's it. Yeah, but yeah, we could do that. We could do a Toby Hooper one. We could. That's an interesting trio of movies to have a look at. That was
Which
Canon.
ones were those? That was Life Force. That was
Invaders from Mars and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Wow, that's a heck of a.
You couldn't get 3 more different movies.
That's variety.
It is. That's variety. That's Canon for you.
It's like a heck of a anthology book.
and they're all kind of like fairly big budget for Canon as well.
I remember Texas Chainsaw aging okay. It's almost like the Friday the 13th Part 6 of the whole thing. I mean, they had the poster. It was like the Breakfast Club, for goodness sake.
Yep. Well, Friday the 13th Part 6 was what one again?
That was the parody one where, like, Jason killed some guy and there's American Express. He came back with lightning.
Oh, right, yeah.
Tommy Jarvis.
Jason Lives. Yeah,
that was the silly one, yeah.
That's one of the good ones, yeah.
We got to bring him back because nobody liked number 5, so how are we going to do it? The craziest way possible.
Yeah.
That was the first Jason zombie flick.
Yep. I like Jason Zombie better than other Jasons.
It's like maybe zombie's not right. Golem. He's like almost like one of those, a big moving mass.
Yep.
Yeah. Like
Man-Thing in that way. You get the shape, you get the big moving mass. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why not?
It's almost like Man-Thing. He's almost like Man-Thing. He just kind of gets drawn to people and they don't burn at his touch, but they slice at his blade, I guess.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 6 was fun one time.
Yeah, I like that one. That starts with a gun barrel Bond opening as well.
Right. Yeah, that one threw me off the first time I saw it. Like, what am I watching?
Yeah, no, I was right in there the minute I saw that. I went, oh, this is it. I'm in with this. Yeah, that was the equivalent of Chuck Norris chewing on a rat for me. That just made me laugh. That's it then. That'll be our next Canon special. Right. Well, I'm trying not to cough all the way through this. I need to take a wee bit of cough bottle, I think.
Sure.
I'm not going to be back next week with Statto because I'm taking a wee break because I am. But you never know. If we do come back, it'll be random and we'll just do something random. But what we have lined up for towards the end of October is some cool stuff. We're going to be doing another Tales from the Crypt special, which is a good one. And we're going to be doing a 70s vampire special where we're looking at Blackula and we're looking at Count Yorga and movies like that.
He's Dracula's Black Soul brother, according to the trailer.
He is. Yeah, he's got style. So if you want to do a wee bit of homework to join us towards the end of the month of October, Blackula, Scream, Count Yorga, and a sequel, Count Yorga Strikes Again. Was that the name of the sequel, I think? And also we'll be looking at...
Should have been Bites Again.
Bites Again. I know. Why did they not do that one?
They should have talked to me.
It's always got the creepy shot of the vampire woman with the kitten.
Right.
Yeah, that was always I saw it as a kid, and I was like, wow, that's creepy. Chowing down on a dead kitten. But also check out the Dark Shadows movies if you can find them anyway. They're quite hard to get a hold of right now, I think.
We're not talking the Johnny Depp one, right?
No, we're not talking the job. We're talking proper 1970s. Ignore the TV show. There's too many episodes of that, but they did make a couple of movies as well, so we'll be talking about them too. And
I remember that being on mornings with Doctor Who. It was a double feature on TV, like Dark Shadows, Doctor Who on Sci-Fi Channel, like every morning.
All right.
Yeah.
That's big budget morning. Excuse me. Sorry, guys, I'm killing you with my coughing now. I've done all right. I've gone an hour without hacking my lungs out. But I've got a wee bit of a cough still going, so I'm going to dive off now and say thank you to everybody for joining us tonight in the chat. I hope that we've piqued your interest to revisit Chuck Norris's Missing in Action movies.
Or Pete.
Yeah, if you do have like a way of watching them at 1.5 speed, that might actually be the best way to do it.
Oh man, I took a look at the ending fight for the second one on 2x speed on YouTube, and it's so much more action packed. Like Norris is flying around, he's like kicking a guy, he's going flying down really hard, and that's the way to go.
The third movie does a lot of slow motion scenes, but it does them for sequences where it's obviously a stuntman jumping through windows. Right. And you kind of think, why did you use slow motion in that scene? Feel free to give them a wee look. Don't spend a lot of money buying them, though. They're not really worth a lot of money.
Absolutely.
But you can find a couple of them on YouTube. And
I
don't know if they're on Tubi. Are they on Tubi?
I don't know. No, Tubi doesn't have a lot of Chuck Norris right now. I think they got like Breaker and a couple other, like Top Dog and Breaker.
Yeah, don't go near Top Dog or Breaker actually. But yeah, so I'd recommend giving them a wee look, just to remind yourself what it was like in the 80s when you got to the VHS counter with your Chuck Norris movie. This is what you had.
Kids don't know what they got these days.
They don't. Anywho, that's us. Cheers, Statto. Thanks for joining me again.
Thank you. Thank you, chat.
And doing this. Thanks, chat. And we shall see you. Keep your eye out, and you'll get a notification, hopefully. And I don't know, like, subscribe, and all that jazz.
Don't forget to get up on that mailing list for Tales of Mystery and Suspense.
Oh, yes, of course. Tales of Mystery and Suspense. That's not even what it's called. It's Tales of Mystery and Imagination.
Imagination, yes.
Tati Bogerman's Tales of Mystery and Imagination.
I was staring at a EC book.
Get on that mailing list, and also we have got everything done and wrapped up now for stretch goals as far as Tales of Dark goes, so everybody's getting everything once it's complete. So that's good. Right, okay, that's that. It's enough of that. See everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.
Bye now.
You have seen this incident based on sworn testimony. Can you prove that it didn't happen? Perhaps on your way home, someone will pass you in the dark, and you will never know it, for they will be from outer space. Many scientists believe that another world is watching us this moment. We once laughed at the horseless carriage. the airplane, the telephone, the electric light, vitamins, radio, and even television. And now some of us laugh at outer space. God help us in the future.